いい子だ、いい子だ。あ、ズビ先生。ナイスタイミング。
何してんの？
今、私がこれを作りました。
作った？そのボールを？
It's not a ball. I guess you could say 魔法のボール。
またまた適当なこと言って。
Wait and watch, okay? Wait.
はいはい。
私が魔法のボールを触ります。そして電気がつきました。
へえ、まあ悪くはないね。
Wait, there's more. 私がボールを触ってパーティー始めるぜと言います。そしてディスコボールになりました。
スマホいじってない？
What? What makes you think that?
面白いんだけど、そのスマホが怪しすぎるよ。
I'm not 怪しい okay? Look, 私がボールを離します。そして電気が消えました。What do you think? Pretty cool, right?
Very cool, very cool. ちょっと怪しいけど認めてあげる。
Anyway, are you proud of me? I tried using そして like you told me before.
うん、気づいたよ。そしてはとても上手に使えてると思う。でもちょっと使いすぎかな。
Oh. What do you want me to do then?
はあ、もうこんな時が来てしまったか。成長は早いもんだね。ズバットもレベルアップしなきゃね。でもきっとできるよ。信じてる。I know you can defeat the 4 conditionals. みんなもついてきてレベルアップしよう。Guys, そして is very useful for saying and then, but you also don't want to sound like you only know one pattern, right? So today we're gonna learn how to say if in Japanese, and these are also called conditionals. There are 4 conditionals in Japanese: tara, ba, nara, and to. All of these do mean if, but they all have their different nuances, and once you can master these, you're gonna sound so much more natural. Today we're looking at the most basic of the 4, which are tara and to. We'll look at when to use tara, when to use to, and how exactly to choose between them in real life. Let's look at what Zubatto said. ボールを触ります。そして電気がつきます。Regardless of whether she was lying about this or not, what she meant to say was, when you touch the ball, the light turns on automatically, right? This is a general statement. This statement is supposed to always be true because it's an automated system. You can think of it like a trigger. When A happens, it automatically triggers B to also happen, and it's unavoidable. In these kind of situations, the conditional that you use is to. I know it's a little bit abstract right now, so let's look at an example. Personally, when I drink coffee, my stomach always starts to hurt. Coffee is the trigger for my stomachache. So if I want to say this in Japanese, let's break it down. Drinking coffee is コーヒーを飲む. And then stomach hurting is お腹が痛くなる. So I just need to join these together with the と conditional, so it becomes コーヒーを飲むとお腹が痛くなる. This means that when I drink coffee, automatically my stomach is triggered to hurt. Easy, right? All you have to do is add to the dictionary form of the verb. You really don't need to change anything. Coming back to ボールを触ります。そして電気がつきます。So 触ります has to change to dictionary form. So that is 触る. Want to try constructing a sentence? Super easy. It's just ボールを触ると電気がつきます. Okay? So what is the difference between と and そして? Like, why can you not just keep using そして? The thing is, そして is fine for saying and then, but it conveys much less information compared to the conditionals. It means and then, but it doesn't actually tell you that it's touching the ball that leads to the light turning on. There's no relationship between the two things involved. It's just this happens and then this happens. So by learning the conditionals, you'll be able to convey a lot more by just saying a few words. Okay, I think I got it. I want to say that the light turned on, like in the past, because it's not on right now, right? So that will be ボールを触ると電気がつきました, right? Okay, good try, but that's the limitation of と. You can't use it with the past tense. What? Why?
Think about it. と tells you that A triggers B to happen, and this statement has to always be true. But if you say つきました, then it's specifically talking about the past, right? It's not a general statement anymore because it can't be applied regardless of time.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can use to like 朝になると明るくなる. This is always true, right? アニメが終わると悲しい. This is also always true.
Well, that's not true at all. I love binging and finishing anime.
Okay, another thing. When I say that it has to always be true, it doesn't mean that it has to be universally true. There's a difference, right? It's fine if it's just true for the person saying it. Just like the coffee example. コーヒーを飲むと私はお腹が痛くなります。でも、ズバットはコーヒー飲んでも大丈夫でしょう。
はい。
You just need to make sure that it's a statement that's always true. A always has to trigger B, but it doesn't matter if it's universally true or if it's only true for the speaker.
Got it. So what if I want to talk about the past then?
That's where tara comes in.
Guys, before we move on, Zubi-sensei has made a worksheet for tara and to with a lot of questions so you can get plenty of practice. It's super useful, so download it from the link in the description. Arigatou. Tara is super versatile. It's the most versatile of all the 4 conditionals. One thing that you need to remember is that the ta in tara is actually the same ta as the one that you see in the past tense of verbs. So for example, taberu, right? The past tense of taberu is tabeta. So if you want to add tara to taberu, it becomes tabetara. So always you have to use the past tense of the verb. Now we did say tara can be used to talk about things in the past, but at the same time it can be used to talk about things in the future. Let's look at how it works to really understand why that's possible. So in the case of to, A happens and that triggers B to also happen automatically, right? And it's not time specific. But for tara, A has to happen first and only then can B happen.
Sounds the same to me, not gonna lie.
Let's look at an example. You're being forced to try natto. It looks disgusting. So you say, hey, maybe not now. I'll try it when I go to Japan for the real authentic experience. So now you want to say, when I go to Japan, I'll eat natto. 2 things. The first is, according to your statement, going to Japan has to happen first for eating natto to become possible. This is what I mean by A has to happen first and then B can happen. Number 2, this statement is talking about a specific point in the future, right? The point when you go to Japan. So this is not a general statement. It's time specific. So we cannot use to, and that's why we have to use tara.
じゃあ、ズバッとやってみる?
はい。
Going to Japan is 日本に行く. Eating natto is 納豆を食べる. And to use tara, the verb has to be in the past tense. So 行く becomes 行った. So altogether, the sentence is 日本に行ったら納豆を食べる. So, 完璧. Now we can try saying the thing that you were trying to say. So when you touched the ball, the light turned on, right? So how do you say that using tara?
So, ボールを触る becomes 触ったら. So that's ボールを触ったら電気がつきました.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. This isn't so bad actually.
でしょ? It's not that hard.
Wait, question.
Yeah?
We use tara when we want to say after A happens, B happens. But what if A doesn't happen? Like, what if I want to say, if you don't eat natto, we're not friends anymore?
マジで? You can use tara. You just say 納豆を食べなかったらもう友達ではありません.
How come?
Instead of A happening, you can also think of it like A is a condition that needs to be fulfilled before B happens. So in this case, the condition A is 納豆を食べない. So if that's fulfilled, we're not friends anymore.
What? But I like being friends with you.
Anyway, わかった?
Yeah, so if it's a general statement that's not bound by time, that's not like limited by time, then I can use to. But if it's not a general statement, then if I want to say after A happens, B happens, then I have to use tara.
Okay. One more thing to remember. Do you think you can say 仕事が終わると食事に行きましょう?
I don't know. No, actually.
Why is that?
Because it's just an invitation, right? You're just saying, let's go. Nothing is automatically happening.
Exactly. you can't use to for invitations. For the same reason, you can't use it for anything with commands like てください. For example, you can't say テストが終わると教えてください. You also cannot use it with something たい like 日本に行くとドンキに行きたい because 行きたい is not a verb, it's just a feeling. So it's not something that can happen automatically. You can say 行きたくなる because なる turns it into a verb. Got it. Are we done now? Pretty much. Ready for a quiz? Yes, ma'am.
5 questions. Try saying these sentences using either to or tara. Every time I ride the train, I forget my umbrella. Okay, so think about it. Every time, is this a general statement or is this time specific? It's a general statement because you're talking about every time, right? It's not like one time in the past or one time in the future. So this is 電車に乗ると毎回傘を忘れる. Number 2, when the shop opens, please go and buy milk. Okay, is this a general statement or are we talking about a specific time in the future? We're talking about a specific time in the future because we're talking about when the shop opens, right? It's not every time the shop opens, buy milk. And also, you can't use ください with と. So this is お店が開いたら牛乳を買ってきてください. 3番 When I asked the teacher, I understood. はい、no more hints now. これは先生に聞いたらわかった or わかりました. Because biggest hint is it's in the past tense and you can't use past tense with と. はい、4番 When I sleep with my socks on, I always have weird dreams. はい、答えは靴下を履いて寝るといつも変な夢を見る。はい、最後です。If I become rich, I want to buy 100 Tamagotchis. お金持ちになったらたまごっちを100個買いたい。はい、どうでしたか? I hope you did even better than Zubatto-san. If you'd like more practice, I have a free PDF in the description that you can download. It has 10 more questions and answers, so you'll get plenty of practice. 今日は見てくれてありがとうございました. Thank you for watching. I hope you understood the difference between tara and to and when exactly to use them. There will be a part 2 for the other 2 conditionals, so stay tuned. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, everything that you can think of, and I'll see you next class. またね! Bye bye!
Okay, sensei, I've got it. So, it's ボールを触ると電気がつきます。And if it's in the past, ボールを触ったら電気がつきました。Right? 違うでしょ? Really? ボタンを押すと電気がつくでしょ? Oh, dang it.